They got dads that ain't never been in trouble right in the same household, and they not giving their sons the time of day that they should give them. They right in the household, and they not giving them no time. That's unacceptable.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the From Boys to Men show, brought to you by the Squire Program. I'm your host, Layden Cook. Now, the Squire Program, you guys are familiar with what we do here at the Squire Program. It is a rite of passage experience for fathers and sons to help strengthen their bond, their relationship, and put their sons through some adversity, right? Some kind of test to be able to see if they have what it takes to have a seat at the table with the men. Now, with that being said, it made sense with all these awesome people that I interview, right? I got to interview the number one for me, and that is my father. And today I have my dad here with us today, a very special guest to me. It's going to be an awesome experience. How you feeling, Dad?
I'm feeling all right, sir.
You feeling just all right? I need you to feel better than all right.
Well, I got a lot of anxiety.
I know.
But I'm going to work it through.
Exactly. It's going to be fun. We're just going to let it flow, let it be organic, and just talk and just revisit some of these experiences and hopefully bring a lot of value to the people watching. So we made an episode, you and I, maybe about a year and a half ago, where it was basically talking about forgiveness. Like the title was something along forgiveness, and kind of how you can continue to build your relationship with somebody who you've had some kind of divide with, right? You can basically, we're saying it's never too late. But for the people that don't understand, like why we're even talking about forgiveness in the first place, I want us to kind of touch on that in the very beginning and lay the foundation for the episode. Now, anybody that's watched the show understands a little bit about my story, because I explained in episode 1 that you were incarcerated, and I talked about some of the trials and tribulations of not having you there. But I do want to talk about kind of maybe what was going on through your mind before, like leading up to that experience, and then we'll take it from there. So for the people out there watching, can you kind of take us through those times? We need you to put your time capsule on. We're gonna go back a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened?
How far back? It's
a good question.
Before what led up to my irresponsibility?
Yes.
Okay, well, your mom and I was married, for sure. And she was pregnant with you. And one day she made a complaint, and she said that I vowed that, because I was hustling. I've always been a hustler. Mm-hmm. Except at this particular time, I was hustling illegal stuff. Mm-hmm. So she said, you wanted a son. I'm going to give you a son. We're going to have a son. After that, I said, you ain't got to worry about me doing nothing else. I'll give the hustling game up, and I'll just be me and my son. Because you were planned, by the way. You were no accident. You were planned. Okay, I've always wanted a son. So one day she got mad and she said, you know what, you're a piece of shit. And I don't like what you're out there in the streets doing. And it was a whole bunch of stuff I'll leave out. But she basically, when she got through, I felt really messed up. I was mad, though. So what I did, I went out and plotted this. I plotted it. Mm-hmm. I planned it. And I got people to get in with me to do it. 8 people were involved, 5 people got away, 3 people got caught up. I was one of them. So.
And when you say get involved with this, what exactly was it? Obviously I know, but for the people who don't know.
I can be blunt.
You can be as blunt as you want.
Okay, well, I was incarcerated for a home invasion robbery. I knew where what they would call a safe house was, and I plotted to go in and get the millions of dollars. I knew I couldn't do it myself. I wasn't going in, so I got a team together to go in. We went in, but it was just a little more sophisticated than we thought. So, like I said, 5 people got away, 3 people got caught up. I don't want to get into the intricacies of it, but I was one of the 3. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't have did that if she wouldn't have said, you're not bringing your share to the table. Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, when I was hustling, I paid for everything. You know what I mean? She kept her checks, and I just paid for everything. But when I stopped hustling, she had to start paying. And she started feeling the crunch of paying. So I didn't want to hear that. So now at the same time, peer pressure is on me that she didn't know about. My partners is telling me, hey, man, you out the game? It's over? I'm saying, yeah, man, I got me a son now. I'm cool. But how you going to feed him? How you going to take care of him? Oh, you working at Mount Sac? I was working at Mount Sac College at the time, making $1,000 a month. And they would roll up on me, in their Vets, their Porsches, their Roses, and be like, this what you want to do? I'm just like, yeah, this is what I'm doing, man. This is what I'm doing right here because I was determined to do right by your mom and by you. And peer pressure is a mother. Peer pressure is real pressure. So I succumbed to the peer pressure. I put that together, and I got caught up. They gave me a 31-year prison sentence. You was 10 months old. You didn't know.
Right.
Your mother said, I want to have nothing to do with you. You said you would, if I gave you a son, you would be through. You didn't, you were a man of your word. I'm finna go find this boy a father. I mean, I'm already into the system. So I'm tore up behind it. Tore up. So many years later, I mean, as you've seen, you had to come see me, but she was in love with me. The love was still there, or she wouldn't have came up to see me, to bring you to see me like she did.
Right.
We had family visits. Me and you was able to bond and play and do the things we did. So the love was there because there's always been love. And there's always going to be love. I commend your mom. She's a great woman to raise a young man like you. The way she did it, she did some hell of a sacrifices. I can't stop commending and praising her. She really raised a fine young man. She did. So, and I love her for that. But once I got in the system, it was a whole new different beast. I had to not cut you loose, but I had to survive.
Yeah.
And I had to win, not lose. They got people in that lose. I ain't never been a loser. So I had to adapt. I developed some personality disorders while I was in there that I'm just now starting to get rid of now because it's a lot of psychological trauma going on up in there.
Yeah.
You may ask me about that later. But
well, I actually do want to touch on that. I don't want to make this a whole episode about just you on the inside, but I know we talked about this on the phone a little bit before. I know there's like this weird infatuation almost with people and wanting to hear about it. It's like this, like they like the movies and they want to, like it's like a game. Why. So what are some of the things in there that you saw? And then also too, how were you able to kind of get through some of those situations? Because a lot of people don't come out the way that you came out. I was really proud at when your feet touched the ground again, it was just you were off to the races. There's a lot of people that don't start like that. So what was your motivation? What were some things you saw in there? And then what was some reasons why you were able to push through like that, you think?
Well, I'll answer the second question first. What was my reason? I think I've always been a strong person. I never succumbed to. I didn't believe in the weakness. Like I said, I developed personality disorders. But in order for you to have them, you got to know what they are, like antisocial behavior. I was antisocial. I didn't want to meet you. I didn't want to talk to you. I didn't want to. If I didn't know you, you can be a rat. I didn't associate with people that was ratting. That was a whole nother ball game. I'm watching snitches get killed. I didn't want to associate with it. I didn't want to associate with the homosexuality, the drug dealing, the drug smoking, the gambling. I didn't want to associate with nothing. So I had to disassociate myself with most of the people. Because once you take gambling, smoking, drugs, homosexual, gang banging, who do you own?
What's left?
There's nobody left but yourself. There's nobody left but yourself. So I stood on my squares firm. So when people found out I wasn't in the gang banging, I had problems. You in the Crip, you in the blood? Where you live at then? Because they don't believe me. So Pomona, what part of Pomona? Oh, the Islands? That's blood. You got to be, so many incidents that I had to do things to people. Thank goodness I didn't get caught. But I had to do things just defending my character.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was the guy they called a non-affiliate that did things to people to defend my character. And at the same time, I'm saying, I'm trying to get home to you. And I'm like, oh, man, these dudes, I'm going to catch a life sentence up in here. And you, I'm going to let you down. So a lot of times I passed on some stuff so I wouldn't get in trouble. Now, when I say pass on some stuff, I mean I learned how to tell a man, look, man, I don't know you, you don't know me, but I got a lot of rage inside of me. I don't know what you got in you, but I know what I got in me. If I did something to offend you, I humbly apologize. And if I did, I would like you to let me know what I did. And usually that disarmed them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, man, you didn't really do nothing to me. I just had a bad day. Okay, we can work from there. I always felt like I'm not going to let you outthink me. I'm not going to let you or nobody outthink me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't come from, I'm not an illiterate. I didn't come from no illiterate background. My dad was a master's. My mom's had bachelor's. He didn't raise us like that.
Yeah.
So there's no way I'm going to let somebody that's just from the street outthink me. Because I'm not from the street. I just been in the street. But I'm not from the street. So my whole thing was intelligence. So although I earned a couple of degrees while I was in there, that's academic intelligence. But that's a whole nother beast. Right. You know, survival intelligence. You know what I'm saying? When you go to the canteen line and you got your bags in your hand and somebody say, man, and they got the knife and they say, man, put your bags down and walk away. I seen dudes walk away all the time. They just walk away. Oh, I wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
I ain't built like that. So, and then once they see that, 2 hours later, 2 or 3 other guys is coming in. Okay, now you got to bend over, because now we're gonna molest you. Now we're gonna rape you. So you should have just got off when you was right there on the yard, when you was protected by the police. Instead, now you finna get raped because you didn't do what they asked you to do.
Yeah.
It's a dirty, dirty world.
Yeah.
It's a cold, cold world. And I felt for some guys, because like I said, the Los Angeles County Jail is worse than prison.
Mm-hmm.
People think prison is bad. No, the Los Angeles County Jail is worse than prison. Okay, yeah. Because you may be in for a traffic warrant, but you're in the same cell with somebody in for murder.
Right.
And you guys don't know it.
Right. And
they mad because they just got a life sentence. But it's a, and next thing you know, you're getting raped.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen dudes working out talking about how to rape a man. I've seen them.
It's crazy.
You do him like this, and you go and you do him like this. I'm just sitting there like, God damn. Okay, I'm listening.
I'm the hell up, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta listen.
Yeah.
Because I'm not affiliated with nobody. I'm not no Crip. I'm not no Blood. I'm not from Northern California. I'm not no 415. I'm not nothing. So I gotta listen. So these are the survival things that took place, and you ain't never seen nothing until you hear a man or see a man getting raped.
Yeah.
You're traumatized.
For sure. Yeah,
traumatized.
I remember the only one overnight.
And you can't do nothing. Your body really want to say, you want to help him.
Yeah, you can't. Nah, it's not.
You can't help him.
It's not a smart move at all to get involved at all.
You get away.
Exactly. Yeah, it was that one night that I had spent, and I remember trying my best to sleep, but it's some hard brick pillow they give you, some hard mattress, whatever. Yeah. And it's all segregated. All the blacks were upstairs, Mexicans or Hispanics were downstairs. And I'm laying down, trying my hardest to sleep, and I hear a man screaming. I don't know what was going on, whether he's getting raped, whether he's getting beat up. I don't know what's going on, but something's going crazy, something's going down. And I was just like amazed, not in a positive way, but in a bad way, the fact that I look over, like, is anybody like hearing this? Like, is this like what's going on?
Everybody's hearing.
And they just sleeping through it, people putting the pillows over the ears and just trying to shut it out. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Till first of all, everybody watching is probably giving your props well, but I always got to give your props because that's like I said before, most people don't come out the way that you came out. I know that you said you have some things to work through, for sure. I mean, we all do though. But that's a really difficult situation to be in for more than 2 decades. That's a long time to have to, kind of weather that kind of storm. And so back to what I originally asked, the part 2 of that question, I know you kind of touched on it a little bit. You said that I was part of your motivation, but you know, what really kind of got you through some of those times? Like, what about thinking about me made you want to just stay on the course?
Well, like I said earlier, you were planned. I wanted me a son. I wanted a child, but I wanted a son.
Right.
I got a son. You know, I got my son. So I was kind of selfish with you. You know, I told, you know, because your mom, she had to go back to work. I said, I'll take care of you.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever I got to do. I'll learn to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to do it. So what you call those appointments when you go to the kids, I'm the only guy, I'm the only dad in there is all the mothers. I forget what they call it. When you go get the child checked up and all that stuff. I was there.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you know, your mom she was working. I'm fighting off the urge. I'm constantly fighting off the peer pressure to get back to hustle. I didn't feel good about your mom working, and I wasn't. Felt good about taking care of you, though, no problems at all. But I didn't feel good about that because I felt like that's not how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how it goes, not with me. So it was always a constant peer pressure to me, you know what I'm saying, to lead even in that arena. Later on, I had to realize nowadays it's just how it is. But then it was you. Them whole 10 months, it was just me and you. You know, I got, as you see, many pictures of just me and you doing this, doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was devastating to me when I left. You know what I mean? So I couldn't wait to get back to you because your mom didn't take you away. She made sure I seen you. She made sure we had constant communication. She made sure all that. So I still was in love with my son.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's what kept me going. The times when you would only, the time you would leave, you wouldn't want to let my leg go. You crying. You know, the officer's like, damn, man, how much more time you got? You know, he felt it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's emotional and it's traumatic. So every time I have an incident, I would think about you. How I already let you down. How I can't get no more extra time. How I'm trying to get home ahead of time. So my thoughts is about you. And how I'm trying to be responsible to get home to you. Sometimes, I didn't pass the test. Didn't get caught, but I didn't pass the test.
23 and a half years. I mean, you did pretty well for yourself. I'll say that. It's kind of some things you can't avoid, right?
And no, you really can't.
Yeah.
And I even asked myself, damn, how did I get through all of this?
Yeah.
But I intentionally planned on going, I call prisons plantations, I might add. So I call them going to different plantations. I'm going to do 4 years at this plantation, 4 or 5 years at this plantation, 4 or 5 years at that plantation, and because really that is what they are.
Right.
And then I'm going to move on. Fortunately, because of my education, I was always able to get a good job. Always. So, and you don't have to have a lot of education, but you got to have, I was always able to get a good job, and I did. But you was always on the forefront.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. First of all, actually, before I ask you that question, I want to touch on this because for the Squire Program, we do get a lot of single moms reach out to us, and they say, hey, my son's father's not in his life, can he still attend? So yeah, of course we can, set him up with a mentor. You guys can get to know each other beforehand, make sure they click, right, that kind of thing. And so and so I understand that there's a lot of single moms watching this, I'm sure as well. And I want to give my mom props while it's still on my mind, because there's so many mothers out there that had a falling out with the dad, and they trash the dad's name. They drag his name to the dirt, say he's not this, he's not that, he never wanted you, and they just go crazy. Whether or not that's true or not, they'll just slander this man's name like no return. And then at that point, they'll kind of, I say like they light the match, burn it, and then they just walk away and say, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to say anything else about your dad, right? But the damage is already done, right? Now that another kid, a boy or a girl, is looking at their dad like he ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I want to give a shout out to my mom for that, and any mothers out there, single mothers out there watching, stress the importance of that the fact that my mom didn't do that she always talked about you in a good way, even though, you made some mistakes. That's always how she would frame it, is your dad made some mistakes. He's a good guy though. He's this and that and intelligent and making sure that foundation in my mind was there. And I know that had something to do with the fact that it was so much easier to reconnect with you when it came time for when you were coming home. I give a lot of credit to that as well. So anyways, I just want to say that, excuse me, I want to say that before we moved on. I do want to ask you though, kind of what's your what was your upbringing like? I know like the basis of what you and Grandpa's relationship was like, but I want to kind of take it around full circle, because there's some people watching where, they kind of wonder, well, I was like this with my son because that's all I knew. My dad didn't, raise me the same way. He wasn't affectionate with me. So how am I going to be affectionate with my kids? Because I don't know any better, right? So I want to ask you about your relationship with your dad, with Grandpa, of kind of how that was for you, and maybe things that you thought were awesome, maybe some things you wanted to change.
Well, my dad is what I call an old school dad, meaning he's like back in his days, they didn't show affection. They was just hard working, to the nose grind working. Mm-hmm. So his version, this is just my opinion, of love was keeping the roof over our head, keeping food, keeping mm-hmm. everything sound. That, and he did just that.
Right.
What I mean? He was a hard-working man. He was a loyal man, and he was a real work ethic, value type of man. So he pushed values and principles. He was a principled man. He'd tell you this day, boy, if you do the crime, you better do the time. And he was serious about it. So you did the crime? Do the time. Shut up. Don't cry about it. Go do the time. Even with me and that,
right.
But he wasn't an affectionate man. He wasn't an affectionate man. And they got a lot of men out there, a lot of fathers out there to this day, my age and even younger than me, they're not affectionate. And a lot of times they're not affectionate because they was raised to not be affectionate. Now, in my mind, I said, there's no way I want to be like my dad except that part, the affection. I'm going to show my son affection. So that's what you got, mm-hmm. And still right now and still today, what I'm saying? I'm not going to hesitate to show affection. You be tripping. I try to kiss you sometime, but that's just how I go. You my son.
I was just about to say, I was trying not to laugh when you said that.
And if you was close to me now, I'd give you a kiss right now.
No.
Okay. But I say that to say I'm affectionate.
Right.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
But he loved, but his love showed in so many other ways. When I got in trouble, first time in my life, I seen my daddy cry. Mm. He cried like a baby. He had to pull over. He was crying so much. So I'm looking at him like, damn, he can cry. He crying. Crying. Because I got to leave him. I didn't know that he didn't want me to leave him because he didn't show affection like that. So I was just blown away. And I was like, okay. And that stayed in my memory, and I was like, okay, he loved the hell out of me. It's just how he show it. Mm-hmm. And there's certain ways, and they got a lot of dads that love strong and love long, and their child don't never know it until they see a moment.
Right.
I seen that moment, I was like, damn, okay, my daddy do love me. He just show it differently. And then dads, and he, later on, as he got older, he's like, yeah, boy, I have to shake away that tough love stuff.
Yeah.
I was glad that he shook it, because to me, it's a stigmatized stereotype about tough love. Don't hug your son. Boy, don't cry. What you crying for? Get up. That's some bullshit. And I've always thought it was bullshit. Don't cry. Don't get up. You fall, you hurt, you gonna cry. Mm-hmm. What do you mean boys don't cry? So nowadays, you got boys that don't cry. They not crying tears, but they crying bullets.
So crazy.
They crying bullets.
Yeah.
They'll put a gun in their hand and go cry some bullets. And it's happening at a young age. So I've always, even with the cats inside there, because it's a prison full of them, being told that. So when because I mentored when I was in there, and that's what really helped me. I had to start mentoring these young guys, because they're gonna get out and they're gonna be with my nieces, they're gonna be with my daughter. I mean, my mothers, my aunties. They're not staying locked up forever.
Right.
So my responsibility, my obligation was, let me equip them with what I got. So I did classes like that, dispelling the myths of boys don't cry, or get even, the revenge. It's just so many things, when the reality is the boy just want to be hugged.
Yeah.
They just want to be held, and we're not being held. Many times in there, I've held dudes, and then they was totally just, you would see them on a chain, they would melt, start crying. Man, my daddy ain't never did that. I wish your daddy would have known. I wish your daddy would have known. Well, my mama said that my daddy wasn't shit. Now, you're going to get old enough, boy, where you may find out your mama might not have been telling the truth. Your mama might have been hurting so bad that she might have just, the ultimate thing was to turn you against your dad.
Right.
That's why I'm so thankful for my ex-wife for not turning you against me. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of them that do it.
Right.
I thought when I got out, I said, man, my son, he's going to hate me. I've been gone all this time. I thought you was going to hate me. But I was building myself up to go to war, to defend, to have you in my life. I wasn't, you could have said that. You could have said, I hate you. I wasn't going nowhere.
Right.
I wasn't going nowhere. I was determined. Whatever you'd have brought, I'd have accepted it, and I'd have been still right there.
Right.
Fortunately, I was blessed to where you didn't do that. You forgave me. 23.5 years later, you forgave me. That right there was that was, they call that was a profound moment for me. You forgave me. I thank you for forgiving me, son. I do. You gave me just years to my life. Because now I can just be me.
Yeah.
I can just, whatever you want to do, I'm down with. Whatever. Because you're in my life. And they got sons that need their fathers. But I hear fathers say, well, man, he got to make the first move. No, he don't. What do you mean he got to make the first move? He's your child. You got to make the first move.
Yeah.
You are the one that intentionally or unintentionally separated yourself from your child. It's a form of abandonment. I know that you got abandonment issues. I know. This is what happens. I was gone 23 and a half years. You can say you don't have abandonment issues. Okay. I beg to differ. And it's a lot of that going on. If the father would just say, man, I was tripping. You know what I mean? I was tripping. But can we just spend some time? The son may be, man, you don't even exist. The father got to be determined. The dad got to be determined to hang in there. It's going to be tough. You did leave him accidentally, intentionally, unintentionally. It's serious.
Well, you told me before too, when a couple of people you would talk to on the inside, other people doing their time would talk about their sons in a certain way with us. So I don't care. I'm not going to see them, whether they're in there for life or whether it's 10 years, whatever the case is. And they feel that they aren't getting the attention either because they're on the inside. Maybe they're not getting letters. Maybe they're not getting, nobody wants to go and visit them. And so they feel abandoned in the way. And so they're like, I'm not going to talk to my son for what? I'm not going to talk to my kids. So, but obviously the thing that always stood out to me was the fact that you'd have conversations with these guys like, dude, that's your son. Like, you're tripping. So how often would you see that happening as far as like
often.
dads, not caring?
Often.
Yeah.
We had classes. Often. You know what I mean?
Surrounding that.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, we had to have classes on emotional intelligence. emotional immaturity. So that's a perfect example because it's all emotions. It's all we call it she motions. we would call it she motion. Man, you got emotions like you got she motions. But this is the place where you go to war against yourself. I push it, and I push it to this day. The only thing a person, a man, or anybody should be going to war against is they self. The inadequacies within they self. The weaknesses within they self. You don't even have time to be thinking about nobody else's inadequacies, just yourself. Go to war against yourself. And that takes courage. And that's what I did. I had to go to war against myself. I didn't have time to think about nobody else's.
Yeah.
I had my own stuff that I have to deal with.
For sure.
My own shortcomings. I was impatient. I'm still working on impatient. Impatience.
That part for sure.
If you say something to me, I respond right away.
Yeah.
I believe in right away.
That might be for a different podcast. We got some stories to show. I'm like, maybe we'll share that story, maybe not.
Yeah. I mean, but my emotional maturity has grown. For example, I didn't like the MMA guy. I don't know his name. The MMA Aaron, or what's the other guy? Or names like Bedros. I wasn't fond of them dudes being close to my son. I wasn't fond of them being close to you.
No, we about to go there.
I'll be like, Well, when it come to Aaron, I was still in.
Right.
And he was, I wasn't fond of none of them. But what can I do?
Right.
I had to endure it, suck it up, and try to push through. Now, your Bedros has done such a good job with you that I just had him under massive scrutiny because out of all, he was the closest to you. You would speak about him in a way, and I say, my son like him. So I would ask you sometime, well, what you doing? How y'all doing? I don't think this was around, but I want to know. I'm asking you questions because I want to know about him. Because he's under massive scrutiny with me. Because I know how you feel about him, so I'm listening, and I'm listening closely. And he is a mentor, and he's shown to be a good mentor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? An excellent mentor. So when I go and do what I call running a make on him, I ran a make on him. You can believe that. I run makes. So it all came back.
Yeah.
Clean. Looked like he might have similar type of things that I've been through. You know what I'm saying? When I ran the make, I saw he done been through a few things. Okay. He just got away. And it happens. People get away, and they don't get caught, and they grow from it. So I had to develop some emotional maturity because off the top, I didn't want nobody raising my son, but at the same time, I'm not there.
Yeah.
So how the hell how can that work?
Yeah.
I don't want nobody to raise you, but you need to be raised by a man. You need father figures, you need mentors, you need all this, but I'm not there. Emotional immaturity.
What about that? I mean, it makes sense why, but what about that bothered you as far as me
I wasn't there. I wasn't there. That's what bothered you. Yeah. I wasn't there to do what they was doing. And I wanted to be there. I wasn't them dad that didn't want to be there. I wanted to be there. You heard me, I tell you, you know what I'm saying? You were skating just as good as that night. What's that dude's name? Nigel, you were skating just as good as him. Yeah. But you couldn't get over that extra, because your mom was like, no, don't do it. I don't. But me, we would have been doing it. Because dads bring other things to the table. They have other ways of motivating their sons. And that's why the interaction with fathers and sons is so important. Dads got to realize this. And if fathers don't realize it, then it needs to be spoke about. It needs to be some classes on that,
right?
On fatherhood. Because if you're going to have a rite of passage for a child to go from boyhood to manhood to fatherhood to husbandhood, then they got to know what it entails. So some fathers, they don't know.
Right.
They skipped all these they skip the rite of passage. They just jump right into the fatherhood because they got somebody pregnant. They didn't know about this other stuff.
Skip some steps.
So it's important to me. It's important, and I speak on it all the time. I speak on it and I'm going to speak on it more with my nonprofit. I have a nonprofit back online for formerly incarcerated men. You know what I'm saying? When they get out, they don't have nothing to go to. Nowhere to go, no resources. They'll tell them, go get you a corporate America job, and then they'll discriminate you. They go through stuff, and you don't even get the job, or you get the job, and they're watching you at the halt. They're doing these things. And I'm saying you ain't got to do that. You can be your own entrepreneur. But it's for formerly incarcerated people. It's for people that just got out, and they need help. They getting judged, but this is redemption time. I'm on a redemption phase.
Right.
I'm grinding, I'm working hard, but I know it's redemption for me. So, but I'm not gonna say I'm no different, but I'm striving and thriving.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got you looking at me. You know what I'm saying? My mom, everybody. You know what I'm saying? My sister told me the other day, I ain't gotta hold my breath no more. What do you mean you gotta hold your breath no more? I've been holding my breath for 3 years. You know, I think you're all right now. So you've been, yeah, I've been holding my breath, thinking you're gonna do something. You kind of got a hot head. You're gonna do something, and you're gonna end up going back. So I was like, But when I look at you, I said, no, I ain't going back. My son need me. He need me. Even so, I have to show it. I gotta survive. I gotta show it. I'm not corporate America. I'm straight up entrepreneur. So I gotta show me that it can be done. You just get to see it by me showing me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I ain't got to, you see it, but it's for me. I have to do this for me. Everybody else just benefit from me doing it.
Yeah. What about, because all that was super interesting. There was one part I want to ask you, because we talked about the feelings of, me having these different mentors and whatnot, but there's something in there that I want to ask you, because now that you are home, obviously these mentors are still in my life, but how was it for you, the transition for coming home now at this age? When you came home, so 3 years ago, I was 24, or just turned 25. First daughter was 2 months old, married, just a different stage in my life. Because I remember on the phone call when it was okay, it's about that time to reconnect and pick you up and do the whole thing. It was like, we're not going to make up for old times. So we're not about to go, play t-ball and go, play basketball together. I mean, maybe we could do something like that, but like, you get what I'm trying to say. Like, doing the kid stuff, we can't make up for old time or lost time. We got to just start at this stage now. So how was that transition for you, for just being like, all right, well, that's just kind of how it has to be. Like, what was that transition like, coming back to someone who's not just a little boy anymore, but now a man who has his own family?
Well, you said it. It was a transition. And it came abrupt, because in my mind, I was ready to do that. Okay, man, I got my son back, father and son stuff. We can go do this. We can hang out. We can do this. But you became a husband, and you became a dad. I had to transition that in my mind. Okay, he got a wife, and he got a child that's on the way. So I had to adjust to getting in where I can fit in. So now I went from, okay, we can go hang out, to now I got to get in where I can fit in. And I'm not first on the list. Not that I was anyway, but I knew that you loved your dad. I have no doubt in my mind that you loved me and that you wanted to be with me. And even these times today, there's no doubt in my mind. And I relish the times we ever to spend together, even if it's me and you, or it's me and you and Zuleika, or it's me and you and all of them. Now, one day I would like to get it for just me and you. I'm working on it, but you got a family.
Yeah.
You got a family. You know what I mean? You have responsibilities, but it was a major adjustment, because I was ready. Come on, son, let's go. And then I said, oh, okay, be married. Oh, damn, yeah. Okay. And now you got Zuleika, Zuzu around. I said, oh, man. Okay, that's You know what I mean? All I can say is I'll be your support, whatever you need me to do, son.
Right.
I'll be, because that was an adjustment for me. You know, I mean, I had a wife.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm going to see my son. Just me seeing my son. You know what I mean? She wanted, you know what I mean? I wanted to just see you.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool sometimes, but then I needed some me and you time. So, and I don't think we had it yet.
Nah, I think we had it.
When?
I mean, like, not big trips. You're trying to talk about, like, for example, the family reunion next week, going to Chicago. You're trying to go fly somewhere. You trying to do something
We
big.
can go
You know
to
you trying to
Santa
do something
Monica
big.
Beach.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember. I don't remember us having one. Prado Lake.
It's because every time we get together, it's for like an event. That's why. So
Let's plan something without an event.
All right, bet. But anyways, we got it on film. All right, we had this agreement right now. We're gonna do something together, just by ourselves. We've done something small, but I know you're talking about something like we're gonna
I
go.
want us to go on that fishing trip, catching the
I was just gonna say you can try and go fishing, something crazy.
You see them. I mean, adventure.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I'll tell you this. I thought it was funny when you said, all right, well, you're doing the Squire program now. When we doing it? I was like, we're not going to go to the Squire together. So it's like, so ages well, you guys probably already know watching. Ages 12, and we just added, it was 12 to 16 before, as far as the boys. And then we just added ages 17, 18, and 19. Because I was like, hey, it's a good idea. There's a lot of people that reach out to me and say, my son's 17, he's 18, can he go? And we didn't have, it was like, it's only until 16. So anyways, me at 27 now, you at 61. I'm like, we can't go to the Squire, but well, how about this? You'll come to the next class, and maybe you'll help mentor. We'll get you in there.
I'm available if you need me.
Bet. All right, cool.
Now wait a minute, the Squire. How long has this Squire program been going on?
I believe since 2020, I think 3 years. Because I think the men's program started in 2019. I think Squire since 2020.
Okay.
I want to say. Yeah, but it's been around for a few years.
Okay, because I thought it was at San Quentin at one time. They was bringing young guys in, and they were mentoring them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I thought it was Squires, but it must have been something else.
It could have been something similar or something like that, or maybe
Definitely was something similar.
Yeah, for sure. So let me ask you this, Dad. I want to get back into it. I want to ask you, for the dads out there watching that think, maybe their kids are teenagers. That's a tough time in that young man's life when he's kind of, coming into his own. He's trying to learn about, where he fits in, and maybe playing some sports. Whatever, they feel like they know everything. Teenagers feel like they just have it all in control. They're the wisest, right? They know better than the next person. What do you say to the dad that knows that he should be in his son's life, that wants to be in his son's life, but he kind of is just like, hey, he's not accepting of me, and he just pushes me off? Because I know it's not too late. Obviously, this story, having you right here as our conversation, our relationship, is proof that it's not too late. But what do you say to that dad out there watching?
You got to develop a little more thicker skin if you don't have it. Because if you're not able to endure, if you knew that you, whether it was unintentionally or intentionally, you're not in your son's life, you have, and you want to be in your son's life, then you got to have thicker skin, because he's not mature. No matter 15, 13, he ain't mature. He angry. You know what I'm saying? He's mad. He don't care. He's disrespectful. He don't care. But it's a whole bunch of emotions is what he's under. And you as a father may have those same emotions, but you still got more maturity. You just gotta decide that you want to. You just gotta want to be there. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to endure what he gives you, because he's going to give you something. He's young. He gonna give you something, especially if you've been gone, and then you want to come back.
Right.
He mad.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't endure seeing all his homeboys got dads for what reason. And you don't have to have been to prison. They got dads that ain't never been in trouble right in the same household. and they not giving their sons the time of day that they should give them. They right in the household, and they not giving them no time. That's unacceptable. Dude, you're going to have to put something away. You're going to have to sacrifice. Put something away, whatever it is, and go holler at your son.
Right.
And I don't mean holler at him like, okay, so we're going to have a father and son talk. No. Not like that. Go do something with him. Find out what he like. You know, a few things he like, and go do it. Go do something with your son before you start talking to him. Don't just start talking to him. Go be vulnerable to your son. It's your son. You can be vulnerable to him. But you got to make the sacrifice to be that. So if he like skateboarding, go skateboard with him. If he like basketball, baseball, whatever it is, go be that with him. Go be vulnerable with him. After you guys, do your heavy interaction, you may fall on your ass, you may do this, you may do that. He gonna laugh at you. That's okay. Now he's open.
Yeah.
He's open now. He's open for you to apologize. And then once you apologize for not being there, for not doing this, for not doing that, now he's more apt to receive it. But he ain't gonna be doing none of that. You don't spend no time with him. Time is valuable and it's precious. But if you know you did some wrong stuff, forget blaming it on his woman, wife, or his mother. If you know you neglected him, man up. Apologize. Leave her out of it. Apologize to him. Man up. And that's what you don't see a lot of. No manning up. Because you're going to be vulnerable. But vulnerability is part of maturity.
Yeah,
you can't get to the next level until you accept that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what I say, dude. If I was ready to do all of that with you.
Yeah.
Man, man.
Well, you're speaking from true story when you said, or true experience, I should say, when you said, if you like skateboarding, go with them.
Yeah.
I remember when you pulled up to the skate park, and it was cool. I just thought you were going to watch. You said, get out the way. You pushed me off the board like you're about to do something on the board. I was like, oh, man. You too big now. If you break your hip and fall, I can't pick you back up. It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
But I was ready. I was
exactly.
showed up ready to get with it. Thank you for not letting me do it. But
Absolutely. I got you.
But I was ready.
Yeah.
Because I used to skateboard, but not them boards. It wasn't them type of board. That was a different type of board.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But you have to, I was ready to sacrifice it. I was trying to pull up on you every chance I had, just to watch you, just to let you see me watching you. We have a quick conversation. Every little bit counts. You know what I'm saying? But, and it's for the fathers that love their sons, but think that the mother ain't allowing, the mother got the son and the father separated. Well, if he's 10 years old to 17 years old, it still ain't no excuse. No matter what you say. If you not incarcerated, if you not this, you still got to get in the game. You got to get in there. You got to get in there. If you really love your son, you got to get in there. And you just got to take it. Pain don't last but a little while. You got to take it. You got. I mean, because if not, the next generation of sons, your son, is going to be dysfunctional, and then it goes in. You don't want to perpetuate that stuff. But the reality is, you got to have courage. You just got to have courage to get in there. If he hurt your feelings, they hurt. But you got to have some courage to get in there. And that's what a lot of us are lacking, courage. I was determined to have courage.
For sure. I'll tell you this. Excuse me. One of the last things I wanted to leave off before we finish is, number one, you did an amazing job at everything you just said right now. It's just jump right in. Whatever reaction I had, you were ready to receive it. Keep pushing anyways. Keep showing up anyways. Actually, a couple of times where I didn't even know you were at the skate park. I was there, either teaching one of my students, or I was, skating in between lessons or whatever the case is. And then I'd finish my lesson, I'd leave, and I get a picture of my car driving away. I'm like, you creeping? You just in the parking lot just watching. I see my car. Like, where are you at? So, anyways, the fact that you were just there, you were willing to be there, and I just roll with it. Now, luckily, like you said, there was no punches really to be rolled with, because after that conversation we had, when it was around time for you to come home, one of the lessons that I talked about was literally around the time that Kobe passed away. I said, we don't know how long we're going to be here. I don't want to, have any grudges. I want us to fix our relationship and start now from square one, not trying to, like I said, make up for lost time, but let's start fresh now. Let's build up our relationship and build upon that. And literally right after that conversation, or during that conversation, rather, we became best friends right after that. So that's super important for dads to realize that, you said all those things about having to jump in and just go for it, but you never know. You might be in the same situation that you were in, where they jumped in, they were scared to do it, they didn't want to get rejected or whatever the case is, and they realized they didn't have to go through that. There was no rejection, period or phase or something negative that happened. Yeah. And so their fear might be holding them back from something beautiful, and actually be able to help mend that broken relationship that could be fixed really quickly if you made the first step and showed that person that you cared. And so I gotta always give you a shout out for that, and for you always being there. I never had to worry about, does my dad love me or does he want me or not? I never had that doubt in my mind ever. And so I thank you for that. You're
more than welcome, son. But cool. That Kobe thing was a defining moment.
Yeah.
And let me say this one last thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's fast. In our case, it was kind of fast because of that defining moment of how you felt. But I was willing to go all the way, meaning there may be times where the first time he don't want nothing to do with you. Get out of my face. You ain't my dad. All kind of crazy stuff he may say to you. You know what I mean? And you may get butthurt. You can't. You got to come back. You got to come back again, and again, and again. You can't just one time, oh man, he don't want me bothered with me. No. You got to come back, and you got to come back. Now me, I'm hands-on. I'm a hands-on type of guy. I'm 61, and I still think I can put hands on somebody. But that's just what I think. But I'm saying hands-on meaning that I believe in hugging. I believe, so if you wouldn't have hugged me, I would have hugged you. And if you would have resisted the hug, then we'd have seen how strong you was versus how strong I am. Because I wouldn't have let you go.
Right.
And you'd have been mad. You might have like some kids got rage in them. I would tell the father to don't let him go. Keep hugging him. Don't let him go. Because he may start crying. And you may start crying. And that's called a breakthrough. But it may not happen till like the second, third hug. Or the second, third visit.
Or second, third minute of holding on to it.
I say you just got to not let go. I mean, you got to come back. No matter what happened, you can't just be like, oh, man, he cool on me. Nah, not if you ain't cool on him. You got to stay. You got to hang in there. You got to hang in there, man.
For sure.
You got to hang in there. Go the extra mile. It's in you.
Word. Dad, I appreciate you coming out. I know that you had some nerves about the studio and everything. Like, oh, this is going to be, it's a different vibe than we were filming at the home studio before. But I think we knocked it out the park. I think we helped a lot of people. I think there was a tremendous amount of value given in this episode, not only for the people watching, but for us to be able to have this conversation again. I think it just gets better and better each time that we do it. And so I thank you for coming through. And this won't be the last time. Promise you that.
Whenever you need me, son.
Cool.
I'm here.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. So, guys, do us a huge favor. If this episode brought you any kind of value, like the video, share the video. I'd actually challenge you to share this video with the first person you thought of when you watched it. Maybe it's not your dad. Maybe you just came across this video and it's not about your dad that you have a quote-unquote broken relationship with, but it's somebody else in your family or a friend. Send this to him. Let him know you're thinking about him. And share your story below if you feel encouraged to do so. We love to hear it. Appreciate you guys. See you next time.